Hey there, everybody, and welcome to a special Geeks Who Like Sports movie review. I'm Ray Carstello. I got to go to an advanced screening for The Iron Claw. Of course, this is based on the real life story of the Von Erich family. Of course, it was a great wrestling family in the 80s down in Texas. And unfortunately, very, very tragic story. If you haven't seen the Dark Side of the Ring mini docu-series, you could definitely go watch that, and I'll explain it even better than I will. But it stars Zac Efron. It's coming out right around Christmas. And I got to go to an advanced screening. And I'm not going to lie, folks, the story is depressing in real life, and the film is just as depressing. I actually saw a man run out of the theater with 30 minutes left in the film crying. That's how sad this film is. If you're not familiar with the story, because it is a biofilm and biopic and is based on a true story, I don't mind spoiling it a little bit. There's 5 brothers. It doesn't end well for 4 of them. And it's really, really tragic what happens. And it's a really actually interesting story and insight into possibly toxic masculinity and sins of the father, Fritz Von Erich, who puts a lot of pressure on the boys. And of course, it's told through the story of Kevin, who is the second brother and the only one who ends up surviving, and how he really just loved his family and did all he could for them, but he could not stop the demons that crept up over the years. If you love professional wrestling and if you're familiar with this story, I think you're going to really, really love this film. I think that if you're not as familiar with wrestling, you're still going to find something to get from this, but you're going to have a little trouble. There are some gaps. They smudge the timeline a little bit. There's a couple of dramatic liberties there, obviously, to make it entertaining. But I will say this, the performances are amazing. Zac Efron, if he got an Oscar nod for this, I would completely believe it. The dude bulked up to bodybuilder size. It looks more like Zac Efron and Arnold Schwarzenegger had a baby. He got so big for this film. But they did a phenomenal job of really recreating the wrestling of the era. I think, again, all the performances, most of the performances were great. The guy who played Ric Flair sucked. Everybody else was great. And honestly, I would probably give it an 8 out of 10. I think it's very, very good. Again, it's very sad. This is not going to be an uplifting film. I watched it on a Sunday morning, and the only thing probably worse than watching this film on a Sunday morning would have been watching the Giants. So I actually did better by watching this film. But it's not an uplifting film, but if you're looking for something that's going to tug on the heartstrings and probably have a message in it, I think that this is probably something you're going to want to take a look at. So again, The Iron Claw comes out December 22nd nationwide. But I got to see it early, and that is your Geeks Who Like Sports movie review.